Greetings, Gurks. We are going over a new top tier meta build today that is not the Lightning Amazon and not the super safe, fun, and reliable Chronomancer that we showed off the other day. Today we are showing the most dangerous, frustrating glass cannon boss nuking machine build, I think, in the entire game. It requires very, very, very precise gameplay, but fairly low gear investment. According to my comment section, you should be able to one-shot all the bosses, clear everything very easily with the low investment of 50 divines. I know, very crazy. I'm not that guy. I've gotten maybe 2 divines to drop my entire playthrough. So this is actually pretty much a 50 exalt build. 50 sounds like a lot, but it's really not. Going over the whole build, I will show you, all of my gear. I'll show you, the skill tree. I'll link the Mobalytics page from the original creator down below. Huge shout out to them for think tanking this monstrosity. And then I'll show you some gameplay in mapping where I take out a map and I defeat a boss, and it will be super, super cool. Starting off, let's go over the skills, because that's the most important, most fun part for most people to see. First things first. We're going to skip this beginning part because this is more of a gear section, and we're going to go straight down to this. We are a blood mage, right? So we get access to life remnants. On life remnants, super important, you run magnetism and dissipate. This gives you the healing required for a triple cast on crit setup. Because you're casting on crit so frequently, you're actually losing basically all of your HP every time you cast until you get much later in the game. So you have to have this in order to function. Orb of Storms is our catalyst for basically making it so that we crit all the time. We put Overabundance on it so that we get an extra skill limit of it. We run Magnified Effect so that we get more range. We run Blind because we want this ability to blind people. Very important. And then we're also going to make it so this skill can electrocute primed enemies on hit. This helps with our clear. That brings us over to Spark, though. Spark, our main damaging ability, has Unleash on it for more damage, Arcane Tempo for more speed, Rising Tempest for even more damage, and of course Lightning Mastery. You can obviously perfect Jeweler's Orb all these spots and get these things even bigger, but we are not that far in. We have not invested multiple divines or anything, right? We're still in Exalt phase, so you can't really put a perfect Jeweler's Orb in it, and it's just not super attainable for 90% of the player base. Greater Jeweler's Orbs, though, are. I'm running Coalescence, but I have it on my second ability, or my second weapon, because I actually need a ridiculous amount of spirit to make this build function. What this does in this build is, yes, I'm running Vitality, so I'm gaining life all the time whenever it's active, which, to be fair, I could probably take off because I'm never sitting on the other side. But importantly, because of one of our passive nodes, our life flasks actually trigger Energy Shield, and Coalescence will trigger our healing, which is a really cool interaction only on this build. Now we have our triple cast on crits. This is the meat and potatoes of the build. First cast on crit, you run Arc. On Arc, you want to put Fluke for more damage and refunding. Blindside, and this is very important, Blindside can't inflict blind, but you get more crit damage against blinded enemies and more crit chance. Why this is cool is this Arc will trigger our crit chains because of Orb of Storms blinding all of our enemies. It's sick. And I'm running super critical on it for more crit damage. This is our main nuker. And then we have another cast on crit with, again, another Arc. And this one has Impetus, Elemental Focus, and Energy Retention, just so that this one's constantly firing off those arcs. Now, for more ad clear, our third cast on crit runs Spark. With Spark, you want it to go fast with acceleration, stay forever with persistence, and you want it to execute, because execute is really, really cool. Now, to make these better, if I get perfect Jeweler's Orbs, I am going to slot another Arc, and Spark on these 3, so that I cast 2 Arcs, 2 Arcs, and 2 Sparks. I can't remember if the idea is to put a Spark with the Arc, and then Arc with the Spark, and then 2 Arcs, or you can kind of mix it up however you want. It doesn't super matter. Now, to end the build, we have Soul Offering. Soul Offering has Fonts of Blood to give life regen, and then also make the buff more effective. To run Font of Blood, you need minions. My secondary weapon summons the minions, which also lets me use Coalescence and use my Impale to give me the super damage buff. Now, the build, notably, I skipped the top part, right? I skipped a Lightning Bolt. You're like, how the frick does this guy have Power Siphon, Malice, Skeletal Warriors, and a Lightning Bolt? I'll show you, because Lightning Bolt is the key to the entire build. When you look at your build, this is what I'm working with. We'll keep it on weapon set 1. We're going to go down the list here. So, Mask of the Sanguimancer. This gives you, essentially, it gives you blood magic, which doesn't matter because you have that built in. But it gives you 32% crit hit chance, right? And that's going to be a running theme, because in order to play Blood Mage and to not have mana, you spend life. In order to sustain life on a Blood Mage, you have to crit or kill. When you do that, you get healing from the life remnants, and then the bigger hits you do, the more healing you get in terms of leech. So you need a ton of crit. My chest piece has to have a crap ton of spirit because we can't get it on our amulet. This is not a perfect one, but it has 48 spirit on it, which is decent. Until you hit the end game, use Pilgrim Vestments, because they will give you 100 spirit, and that will help carry you through triple cast on crit for a majority of the game. You're going to need 2 rings. The first one is going to have to basically solve all of your resistance problems, because your other ring won't help you at all. This ring I have right now gives me lightning damage, and then, you know, the resistances. The other ring is a unique one, Seed of Cataclysm. It's super cheap to get. Gives you a lot of crit rate and a lot of crit damage. Also chaos resist, which is kind of cool. The negative is it does increase the mana cost, which increases our life costs, but not a huge problem. Now, the exciting piece, Choir of the Storm Jade Amulet. This is why this build sucks nuts until you hit level 78. This build is actually terrible before you hit 78. It is very hard to make work. You're going to need to get carried or run a different build and transition. But what this does is all critical hits summon a lightning bolt. Let me repeat. Every time you crit, you summon a lightning bolt. The lightning bolt can also crit. So sometimes you throw one spark, that triggers lightning bolt. Lightning bolts just keep slamming down and critting and chaining. That triggers your triple cast on crits to shoot more things out, which crit, and you get this giant wave of everything on the map dies. Also, all of your crits ignore lightning resist, so you don't even care how resistant anything is. It's insane. You literally don't need to care about resistances. Now, moving on, you also need to run these gloves. These gloves give you crit, and they also give you leech, instant leech on crits, which is important because you're going to get low health. Your belt and boots basically just need move speed and resistances, because resistances are very hard to have. And I don't super care about your charms, but there are charms that are important, like the diamond charm, which lets you like get to other parts of the passive tree. I'll go over that in a minute. My wand is super basic. I traded like 2 chaoses for this. The way to upgrade this wand would be to have, +5 to all lightning spells. But this one has everything else that I could possibly need. I get life on kill, I get cast speed, I get insane crit, I get insane damage. You need to run a Malice Scepter. Malice Scepter is insane. It gives you basically a debuff on all enemies to give them critical weakness around you, which is awesome. You have to be running this. It also is the only way you're going to get enough spirit to even run triple cast on crit. Mine has 73% increased spirit, so it's 173 spirit Malice Scepter. You could probably get better than this, but this is what I have right now. And then for your secondary items, I think Dark Defiler is amazing. Not only does it increase your chaos damage and give you some intelligence, but it summons minions. And you need the minions in order to use your sacrifice spell. If you don't have this equipped, you can't sacrifice things, so you won't have the spirit for it. And then I'm running Effigy of Cruelty Antlers because, again, this gives critical hit weakness, and it's just decent. It's just good. Why not run it? You know, run as many uniques as you can and actually make it work. That's my motto. Now, the part that's going to take forever, the skill tree. I'm being facetious. This part won't take that long. We're running Blood Mage. So in order to make this build work, you need to, obviously every Blood Mage is going to take this, right? you're going to get Sanguimancy, which means you only spend life, no more mana, and then you use Life Remnants. And I showed you how we're going to set up our Life Remnants to survive. You also need Vitality Siphon. The more damage we do, the more life we're going to leech, and because of our gloves, the leech is instant. That's how you basically don't instantly kill yourself and make it so you can't cast spells. Now, running down the side, you get more crit damage the more health you have, so stacking life is good. And then your base crit chance being 15% is actually massive. Now, for most of you, you might not know how crit actually works in this game. But notably, I'm going to showcase it with Lightning Bolt. Right now, it has 84.9% crit rate. You're like, well, that's weird, because you have more than 100% crit rate on all of your gear. Exactly. The way crit works in this game is, and they say it here, most modifiers for crit hit chance are percentage based. For example, 100% increased critical hit chance, like on our wand, on a base crit chance of 7 results in a 14%. Meaning you need a crap ton of crit chance. That last node makes our base 15%, so it brings all of our standards up, which is why, even with all my crit chance, I'm only rocking an 84%. It's still great, not amazing. And we also have a 500% crit damage bonus, which is where all of the damage comes from in the build. Now, going back to our passive tree. You're going to start off going up this way, right? You need a lot of energy shield for this build and a lot of intelligence. The build's not super complicated, but you're going to take these nodes, right? You're going to go through. Most of them give you just more damage and more crit. Basically, you're taking every energy shield and crit node possible. You're going to be running through here. This is one of your major ones, Eternal Youth. I mentioned this one earlier. Eternal Youth basically makes it so we can keep our energy shield up all the time, because if our energy shield ever goes away, we will just straight up die, right? We can't cast spells without health, and if our enemy actually hits our health bar, we're done. So this lets us spam our flasks in order to keep the energy shield up, but it also makes our life recovery actually recover very quickly, because it's like it's like a flask energy shield style thing, where the energy shield recharge applies now to your life recovery. So you don't have to run like life regen gear, you can just run normal energy recharge stuff. We got stuff to make our triggered stuff use less energy and make more energy. More crit things, you know, you go down here, you grab again, more crit chance, more strength, you know, for health. You run up over here and you grab all of these nodes. These are all just, again, more survivability, give you more speed. This is my favorite cluster. This basically refunds a lot of your triggered spell costs, which again is all your cast on crits. Now, our amulet has Pure Power Anointed on it, which means we used the Delirium in order to allocate this node. You use Suffering, Guilt, Suffering, and this gives you 2% lightning damage per 10 intelligence. This thing is huge damage buff. And then, you know, you make your way up here. Right now, I'm working my way through this spot. Notably, this build, because you're using 2 weapons, you do want to actually multi-spec just a little bit. Your weapon set 2 is going to focus on making your offerings more impactful, so you're going to use these. And then weapon set 1, which is what you use for basically everything, we'll be grabbing the crit nodes over here. Once you're done with this, you can go back to using, you know, your stuff on both trees. But for this part, you don't. Again, you're going to focus mainly on crit stuff, and when you look at the Mobilytics build, you'll see, you know, kind of the whole thing in a little bit easier to see way. Now, with that diamond I was mentioning that lets you get into parts of the tree that you don't normally have connected, this is what you want to get. You want to get the branching bolt section. This just gives you more chaining on all your lightning spells, which is more crits, more crit damage, and more chains, like, in total. All right. So now that we saw the build, we know kind of what it does, what its game plan is. I want to hop into some mapping and let you see exactly how it functions in the field and how it crushes a boss. I'm going to do just a normal tier 15, bigger pack size, resistances, armor, enemies do more damage, blah, blah, blah. Not like a crazy hard map or anything, but it'll give you, you know, a decent showcasing of how the build functions. So without further ado, we're going to jump right on into it, guys. All right. Now, the first chaining is usually the most important part of this build. As you can see, the lightning bolts literally just slam all over the place. It's pretty disgusting. we're making this look easy. I know this isn't like Lightning Amazon where I chuck one spear and then I just walk into the next room, but I think this is a little bit more like cool and engaging, personally. I don't know that it's as cool as the Chrono Mage, but it's definitely a different style. The Chrono Mage is like ultimate safety, and this build is like high octane living on the edge, right? Because your health is always going down, and you're trying to like counter it by gaining so much life on kill that you don't actually die. I am the storm that is approaching. So, why this is so fast, by the way, I know all enemies are armored and have super resistances, but we just ignore that because we're critting, and our crits ignore resistances, so it makes it very easy. Like, we don't care what their resistances are. They're irrelevant, chat. Like, look at this. This is insanity. What's the closest? Okay, up here. And we're almost to the boss already. Like, this is pretty quick. Alright. I don't know if there's any on-death effects, but, you know, you never know. Sometimes you just one-tap yourself, and it's a little scary. Alright. Now, we're going to be going on to the boss. This is where y'all's mind are about to get blown. We're going to start off with a little sacrifice. Who are we fighting here? Ooh, Candlemass. Interesting. Alright, now we chain him. See, chat? It's just that easy. It's just that easy. Also, the game froze, so that's funny. We killed him so fast the game lagged out. That's hilarious. Alright guys, I hope you liked today's video. I very much enjoyed, working with this class, kind of making it my own a little bit. If you want to see the original version of the build, I'm going to link it in the description below. It's called Triple COC Spark/Arc. Guy did amazing work on it. I really like this build. If you want to see future builds for me to try out, link them in the comments below, and I will probably make a video showcasing it. I really want to highlight all of these off-meta builds that creators are working really hard on that get zero recognition because Lightning Spear is so meta right now. And help kind of make these playstyles blow up and get more interesting for people. If you guys need any help with the game or want to join a community of people trying to make the game more fun, join our Discord. That will also be in the link in the description below. And as always, love to see ya. We stream as much as we can, but with our new puppy and stuff, we're not live as much as we used to be. But let me know kind of what you guys want to see, and I will work on it.